This might be really dumb. I don't know if I have the brain power to go through this.
His demeanor is out there, and there's just no question. You compare him to other presidents we've had, certainly recently, certainly since the war, World War II, he's just really different. He's a real character. He's an enormous, weird, wild character. And some of the stuff
He's fucking insane.
he says, I don't like some of the way he behaves. I don't like, but he's making sense. Now let's take a look at.
He's making sense. Could you please elaborate on that? Where the fuck is he making sense?
The opposition. Let's take a look at Bernie Sanders, who. But he's making sense. Now let's take a look at the opposition. Let's take a look at Bernie Sanders, who doesn't talk like that, who talks kind of in a normal, especially for a New Yorker, talks in a kind of normal way. He's on Seth Meyers, I believe. That's Seth Meyers, right, guys? Yeah, okay. He's talking to Seth Meyers. Seth is setting him up. Myers is setting him up. And the audience is applauding everything he says. Seth Meyers, right, guys? Yeah, okay. He's talking to Seth Meyers. Seth is setting him up. Myers is setting him up. And the audience is applauding everything he says. So let's listen to Bernie's speech.
I never use the word left. Yeah, I am. I'm a democratic socialist, so that's the way it is. But the issues that we talk about, is it left to say that in this country we should have a minimum wage that is a living wage? Is it left to say that everybody should have health care as a right, that we should expand Social Security?
It definitely isn't, because every other country, like, if like the way, okay, so basically, the way Daily Wire and other conservatives describe Bernie Sanders' policies, he describes all of Bernie Sanders' policies as socialist, which means that every other country, developed country on the planet, is a socialist country, which just makes socialism like there's nothing wrong with it at that point. Then,
because so many of our people can't make it, elderly people can't make it on $12,000, $13,000 a year. Is it left to say that we have to rebuild our crumbling infrastructure and create millions and millions of jobs? Is it left to say that we have to address the crisis of climate change, or that we have to deal with criminal justice reform or immigration reform? We have to deal with sexism, racism, and homophobia. I don't think those are left issues. I think.
And you're correct. They're not left issues. They're, to every other nation, a necessity to human life. What can they serve the party? Wait, what? What they can serve the party will try above proficient up and on green technologies like the 1920 prohibition on alcohol. If what you're saying is, if I'm understanding you correctly, are you basically saying like the AOC, like the Democratic Party, is gonna try to like ban fossil fuels or like ban cars in the same way alcohol was banned in the prohibition? Because that's not what the Green New Deal says. The Green New Deal isn't about banning cars. It's just about educating people and asking them to get rid of their cars to the best of their abilities. Or going to farmers and telling them, hey, your cows are corn-fed. I know that's cheaper, but I know corn-fed is cheaper, but can you switch to grass-fed? Because grass-fed is like way better for the environment. When you feed a cow, if a cow is grass-fed, they produce significantly less methane, and it would be good for the environment if you feed your cows, if you have grass-fed cows. If the farmer says, or if the farmers, or a farmer, well, if a farmer says it, but if the farmers say, no, we can't do that, it will cut too much of my profits and I won't be able to sustain my business, then the government can come back and say, okay, we'll give you a subsidy. Let's say it costs $100 to upkeep a corn-fed cow, and it costs $125 to upkeep a grass-fed cow. The government could subsidize that $25. And that would be fine because it would save the environment. Yeah, no, but like, so this is the other half of the debate, is that eventually, so I'm not a vegan currently because I don't really give a shit about animals, so I like the way they taste, so I eat them. But eventually, it is better for the environment if we all went vegan. So it's okay to advocate for people going vegan, but there's like exceptions. If you tell people that they're immoral fucking retard or immoral spastic human beings for not being vegan, you're never going to get your point across. And I may never agree with it because I like, if you come up to me as a vegan and like, oh, what, you don't care about cows? I don't give a shit about cows. So if you want to make me vegan, you have to like slam me on the environmental issue of it, and that has actually happened with me. I've cut back on beef. I eat more chicken than I do beef. I've cut back heavily on beef. I had a steak a few days ago, but I rarely buy steaks, mainly because they're super fucking expensive. So because of education and a change in culture, my diet itself has changed. This could easily be applied to healthy eating. If you want people to stop eating McDonald's, you don't tell them they're fat bastards and you should just stop eating McDonald's. It's disgusting. You disgusting person for eating. Gross. How disgusting are you for eating McDonald's? No, you come up to them and say, you like, hey, do you want to be healthier? Do you hate that you're lugging around like the extra 200 pounds on you, whatever? You try to get them to feel like it's their idea. The best way to like change somebody's mind is make it their idea. So if you walk up to a fat person, don't tell them they're fat and you should just stop eating McDonald's. You're disgusting. You walk up to them and say, hey, do you want to be healthier? Do you want to like improve your body life? Well, maybe cut out or reduce the consumption of like on Mondays. Don't eat McDonald's on like if you eat McDonald's 5 days a week, cut out Mondays. Don't eat McDonald's on Monday. Have a salad. And if you can't provide yourself with a salad, I personally will provide you with a salad. Now, this is kind of unrealistic for peer-to-peer, but if you're a friend, like if you're two friends in a room and you want your friend to lose weight, help him with it. Don't tell him he's a fat, idiot, spastic retard for being 200 pounds overweight because he eats McDonald's every day. Help him get off McDonald's. Tell him, hey, we're living together. I don't want to see you eat McDonald's on Mondays. If you touch a fucking McDonald's burger on Mondays, so-and-so like you can have your friendly banter, whatever works for that specific situation. And if helping him out on that specific day, saying, don't eat McDonald's on Monday, I'm going to buy you a salad on Monday. And it's my money, you have to eat it because like I'm buying it for you. Okay? It's totally free to you, you just have to eat it. And then he agrees to it, and you can slowly change his diet because like you've had a game going or it's like beneficial to him. It's like his idea. You might have a bet, maybe that's how you get things done with your friends. Okay, so this is how it could work with government. That's why it's a 10-year plan to get us off fossil fuels, because it's ineffective if we just it would be an ineffective way to go about things. Like, here's the best way to eliminate methane gas from cows. Walk out to the fields and mow down every single cow. Get your machine guns out and fucking blast them away. And there would be no longer a production of methane from cows. But obviously you would have a huge uprise from that because you can't just murder cows. Or why would the fuck would you just run around with guns blowing the fuck out of cows? Yeah, so the problem with veganism right now is most people who are vegans are like demented in their thought process, and they just think that like you're straight up an evil person for not being vegan. They're like, oh, well, you're just an immoral fuck for not being vegan like I am. And it's like, how the fuck does that get your message across? How am I supposed to agree with you if you're just calling me like if I'm immoral because I'm not vegan, then fuck it, I'm immoral. It's the same thing happening right now. The other people are always calling Bernie Sanders, well, especially AOC, because maybe Bernie's actually a leftist because he's a democratic socialist, but he advocates for like capitalism, basically. Anyways, but AOC, at the start of it, she was she wasn't a socialist, but then who was it? Bill Maher. Bill Maher asked her, it's like people on the right are saying that things like healthcare, things like $15 minimum wage, those are socialist ideas. And AOC was just kind of like, I mean, if those are socialist ideas, I guess I'm a socialist. So like you just admit it, right? So if the vegan comes up to you and says, oh, you eat meat, you're an immoral bastard and you're disgusting. It's like, well, I guess I'm disgusting. Okay. And then you move on and live on.
I think sometimes the media makes a big deal about it. I think, in fact, on all of those issues and more, sensible gun safety legislation, I think you have the strong majority of the American people saying, yeah.
You do. Polling shows exactly that.
I agree with that.
It's interesting because to some degree, he's probably right. To some degree, if you say to people, should there be a minimum wage?
See, this is where the hierarchy I talked about. Yeah, maybe you enjoy cows. I don't give a fuck about cows. Like, I could say the same with it's a long discussion to have. I'm trying to make it brief, but there's a weird thing. So, okay, when somebody says they're vegan, oh no, sorry, it's like dishonest if you're a meat eater. Like if you eat meat, but you think your dog is like you think animals are cute. Like you say animals are adorable. I love animals, but you eat meat. Like you're clearly being dishonest. And this kid, like you could see it in like if you own a dog. So, if you own a dog and you think that the dog is like a human being to you, that's like it's just an animal. Like they're all like, why? If you think that way about a dog, why couldn't you think that way about a cow? And some people literally do. They're like, oh, cows. I actually find cows really cute. So when I eat cow, I just don't think about it. I don't think about that. And it's like stupid. So for me, I can think cows are cute. I might have a cow as a pet. Like I could enjoy having a cow as a pet. They seem adorable. I kind of like cows, but I'm gonna eat them still. So maybe it's like dishonest for me to say I don't give a shit about cows, although that's kind of true. Cause yeah, I could have a cow as a pet. Like I don't see the problem with me having a cow as a pet. If it's like possible, if it's not that expensive, yeah, sure, fuck it. I'll have a cow as a pet. But I'm also gonna fucking eat that bitch or eat its brothers or whatever. I don't give a shit. Same thing with a dog. I will have a dog as a pet, and it's probably more beneficial to have a dog as a pet than eating the dog, because I don't think maybe dog meat doesn't taste that great, stuff like that, you know? So, it's more beneficial to have the dog as a pet, as like a guard dog at night, blah, 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 stuff like this, or as just a companion, than to eat it, because maybe dog meat tastes bad. Maybe dog meat tastes amazing. I've never tried it, right? So maybe I could apply that to cows. I don't think so. I don't know why a cow would be a good defender of my household. Maybe it's a good companion, so that's cool. But at the end of the day, I would still eat a cow. And at the end of the day, in situations, I would still eat. I would eat a dog, or I would kill like let's say my dog has rabies. I'm gonna kill the dog. The dog is dead. Sorry. My dog is freaking out in the backyard because it contracted rabies, and the dog's fucking biting the shit out of my neighbor. I'm gonna blow the head off. It's hurting another human being at that point, and it has rabies, and it's like too far gone. Like if my dog's attacking me, or is in an angry stance, and there's no coming back from it. That's why I bring up rabies. Because if a dog is just kind of attacking me without like knowing, I don't really have the right to just kill it, because it's a bunch of other things. But I think you get what I'm saying. Hopefully that doesn't sound like too fucking bad. But yeah, like if there's a huge, let's say this. For whatever reason, my mother is given 10 dogs to take care of, and she can't possibly take care of them whatsoever, but refuses to get rid of them because she just loves dogs so much. I have no problem walking over to her house, taking all the dogs, throwing them into my car, and driving to the pound, because they're a huge burden on my mom. Like, my mom can't afford rent or whatever, or her mortgage payments, because these dogs are so expensive. So I have no problem driving over to the house going, hey, Mom, these fucking dogs are a burden to you. They're sucking away your finances. I'm taking them to the pound. Maybe you can keep one. I think you can afford one. Choose one right now. If you can't, they're all going.
Wage? Should we have free health care? Should we have more Social Security? Something that the...
Oh, sorry. Let me get back to the hierarchy of the Daily Wire. He actually has a decent argument, yeah? Pigs are only farm animals. Yeah, but you could actually, no, that's not true. You could actually have a pig as a pet. People do actually have pigs as pets. And that's what I'm getting at. Like, there's I don't find a problem with you having a pig as a pet, and you shouldn't have a problem with me eating that pig. Or I believe there's yeah. Yeah. I could have a deer as a pet. I'd eat that. I could take care of a plant and eat it. That was kind of dumb with the last one, but anyways. But yeah, sorry. Back to the hierarchy of DailyWire hosts. Andrew Klaven seems to come up with some decent arguments and stuff like that, but he plays it that's why I feel like it's him playing it safe. He says here,
makes a big deal about it. I think
Interesting, because to some degree, he's probably right.
like he says at the beginning, to some degree, he's probably right. People agree with him and stuff like that. Like, he's not ignoring, like other hosts, that Bernie Sanders is a very popular dude, okay? He is fully aware of this. I can give him credit for that. But then everything after it is just so fucking ridiculous.
Some degree, if you say to people, should there be a minimum wage? Should we have, free health care? Should we have more Social Security? Something that the Democrats are moving. They didn't run on that, but they're moving to do it because for a couple of reasons. Because things are so good and people don't know where that goodness comes from. They think that.
Yeah, see? This is where it instantly derails. Advocating these things just means that people are dumb and they don't understand where, things are so good right now, we can't make them better because whatever made currently good, we're pushing the boundaries, even though that's totally.
We stand on the shoulders of giants and we think that we're flying. We stand in this wealthy country with all the gizmos we have, all the things we can.
See exactly. Do you see where his point's going? His point is America is already amazing. Therefore, we can't go and give you free healthcare and free stuff because it's Icarus, dude. If we give you those things, we're flying too close to the sun. We're going to burn up.
And you can call up the culture of the universe. The culture of the universe.
Except the evidence is against them because every other nation somehow is capable of having healthcare.
With a keyboard, people who were born after a certain time don't know how that happened. It happened because there was freedom and there was incentive, and guys sat in their garage and said, hey, maybe we can make a computer. Maybe.
Yeah, and that still exists, dude. I don't know what you're talking about. Canada has always been ahead of you in the progressiveness, and we've invented a fuck ton of shit.
They dropped out of college. These guys weren't educated by people who thought they were experts. These guys made this stuff themselves and became billionaires. And now, Bill Gates is one of the great philanthropists in the world. You may not like what he's given to, but he's given his money away. Who wants to stop them? You only want to stop them because you can't imagine the future.
Nobody. Okay, who the fuck is advocating for stopping them? Bernie Sanders is just advocating for them to pay higher taxes so that he can fund healthcare and other
Socialism is always about.
And he wants to cut their profits to give their workers more money because
stealing the stuff that people made in the past. You notice you ask occasional about stealing the stuff that people made in the past. Imagine the future. Socialism is always about stealing the stuff that people made in the past. You notice you ask.
That makes no fucking sense.
You ask occasional Cortex, Alexandria occasional Cortex, how are you going to pay for that? She says, well, how do we pay for wars?
Yeah, that's a good question, actually. That's the weird part about his exactly, other nations are, France is a great place to live, UK is a great place to live, Canada is a great place to live, Denmark, Norway, all the most of Europe is a great place to live. Okay, America is worse than all of them. And what do they have? What's the difference between those two countries? Well, or United States and the rest of those countries. Healthcare, higher minimum wage, or a minimum wage, and more social programs in general. Okay. And now he says that America is amazing, even though other countries are better. And now he's going to say, well, why are those countries better? Oh, because we pay for our military, is eventually what he's going to say. But right now he's talking about AOC, right?
Always.
Yeah, exactly. Japan is interesting, and South Korea too, because they're pretty cool places to visit. But don't they have extremely high suicide rates? Yeah, relatively high, so maybe not compared to other countries, but the numbers of suicides declined as of 20. Oh, okay, cool. It's on the decline apparently. 2014 on average, 70 Japanese people do every day, and then you have to ask why are there these suicides happening. What else we got? So Japan is in blue. So at 1995, it spiked. So basically the technological revolution, essentially. And then Netherlands, sorry, that's Switzerland. Interesting. Okay, South Korea's not even on here, so South Korea might be okay. I mean, you guys are also like South Korea is also dealing with North Korea, right? Country South Korea's female suicide rate is highest with 15 deaths by suicide per 100 deaths per capita, according to the suicide. Okay, so that's not okay. So South Korea is not that bad. South Korea is pretty good for suicide rates. I only bring that up because like Japan, you can go and visit there and have a good time there, but the suicide rates are pretty high. So you have to ask too, why are the suicide rates high? This is South Korea, but why are the suicide rates in Japan decently high? And it could be because actually living there for extended periods of time may or may not be good or bad. But I don't really specifically know. I'm not a statistical analysis on Japan.
About stealing the stuff that people made in the past. You notice you ask occasional Cortex Alexandria.
But yeah, in general, doesn't Japan have? Anyways, regardless, does Japan have Scholarly College healthcare system in Japan, Wikipedia. The healthcare system in Japan provides healthcare services including screening, examinations, prenatal and care, and infectious disease control, with the patient accepting responsibility for 30% of these costs, while the government pays the remaining 70%. So not exactly Medicare for all, but a huge subsidy to anything you go and do at the hospital. So pretty. Would that be? That wouldn't even be multi. It would just be like a reduced cost. Okay.
Occasional Cortex. How are you going to pay for that? She says, well, how do we pay for wars? How do we pay for that?
Okay, yeah. So now back to this. How do we pay for wars? It's an honest question. The United States pays more than like the next 15 countries combined in military. Take away a cut from that. What's wrong with taking away a massive chunk of that money and putting it towards social programs?
You know, she doesn't know. She doesn't know where that money comes from. It came from capitalism. It came from people being free.
How does the military industrial complex, like the money that goes towards the military, come from capitalism? That makes no fucking sense. How? Where? Where does that? What do you mean?
Enough to create the incredible wealth. Stop capitalism, you stop the wealth, and you don't know
who is stopping capitalism.
The things that are coming. So Bernie is talking. First of all, he calls himself a Democrat socialist. He's a communist. This is a guy.
Okay, that's what the where? Can you please tell me?
Guy who praised Castro, who praised the Soviet.
Okay, doesn't mean. Okay, let's say that it's true or not true. Regardless, let's say it is true. That doesn't mean he's a communist. Just because you agree with certain people doesn't mean you are.
Union, honeymooning the Soviet Union. You remember
honeymooning the Soviet Union has absolutely fuck all to do with him being a communist.
That thing we had a clip about the bread lines. Listen to this.
You know.
Oh, the bread lines meme. Woo!
It's funny. Sometimes American journalists talk about how bad a country is because people are lining up for food. That's a good thing. In other countries, people don't line up for food. The rich get the food, and the poor starve to death.
Okay, so needed context for that one because they always put it out of context. What he's talking about is that because of capitalism, we have a surplus of food. And our government, the United States government, because of socialized programs, gives out said food to people. If it was pure capitalism, only the rich would have food and the poor would starve, because the rich would just take it all as profit and own all the money, and then no poor people could afford it. But because of the government, everybody has access to food, because if you can't afford food, you go to the government, you get a ticket, you go to the food bank, you get food. That's what he's talking about. So yes, lining up for food in a country is a good thing, because that means that your country is prosperous enough and is under a correct system where enough food is produced that everybody can have it, and people who can't afford it themselves can have it for free. Like that's
bread lines are a good thing. That's Bernie Sanders.
Bread lines. How is bread lines a bad thing? Why are bread lines a bad thing? If you can't afford food and your government doesn't provide you with it, that's a bad thing. So, therefore, bread lines are good things, right? If you are poor and can't afford food, and your government provides you with it, bread lines, that's a good thing.
Sanders America. That is Bernie Sanders' future. He doesn't know. He thinks, how can I pillage the wealth of the past to give stuff?
He never fucking like, this is what I'm saying. He says like one like okay thing right there to kind of defend himself, and then just fucking rants for the next 20 minutes about fucking garbage
to everybody, instead of thinking, let's have the risk and the excitement and the freedom of the future.
The risk. Okay, so but what kind of risk? If you're just if slavery is a risk, or paid slavery, I guess, is a risk, then you're fucking insane. Like if if you like, are you talking like risk, like you getting a heart attack tomorrow and not being able to afford the healthcare because there's not universal healthcare? I mean, if that's the risk you like living with, dude, okay, that's a good risk. All right.
And people have more stuff than you've ever seen before. It's just because he hasn't seen it before, he can't imagine it. He doesn't think it's there. That's socialism is all about the past. Socialism is all about.
Doesn't make any fucking sense. Socialism is not at all about the past. It's about the people. That's like the fundamental difference between a socialist and a capitalist. A capitalist wants to see capital, like his capital, grow. Okay, so a capitalist wants to see his business or his nation grow based off of how much shit they can produce, or like how much wealth they can produce. So the profit is first to a capitalist. Profit is first to a capitalist. The people are second. It turns out, and this is like why capitalism is why we wonder capitalism, is because it turns out that typically you can maximize profits by making your population slightly happier, but there's like a balance, right? So I don't know what's calling me. Go away. So yeah, if you just give them enough, there's like a range, right? So it's like the living poor, whatever. Like you give them enough to survive. Like to a capitalist, if he was only concerned about profit, you would just see like slavery. But then it turns out that, oh fuck, if I have slavery and I don't feed you can maximize your profit by not feeding your workers. But if you don't feed your workers, they die. So you feed your workers, right? But the socialist looks at the people first, and then economy later. So it's about keeping the people in your nation as prosperous and as equal as everyone else, and that's what that's their initial focus is on that. So making sure that everybody is healthy, safe, secure, all that stuff is what the socialist looks at first, and then thinks about profit. And that's where you can get into a sticky situation where you care too much about the people, and you forget about the profits. Or you because you want to care about the people over the profits, you forget about profits, but then you have no profits to take care of your people with.
About pillaging the past. It used to be socialism was take over the means of production, right? And then spread the wealth, give the wealth to whoever needs it. Or
like what I just described? Yeah, it still is that. I don't know.
That didn't work because when you take over the means of production, the government ruins everything. They can't run stuff.
When you take over the means of production, governments just can't run stuff. No outside factors. It just turns out that government fundamentally can't run a business.
So the companies failed in the Soviet Union.
That's literally his. Okay. Communism doesn't work because when you take over businesses by government, they just fail. Okay, why do they fail? Well, government can't run it. Why can't government run it? Because it's government, guys. Okay.
At first it was great. You modernized everything, and then of course it all collapsed. But now they don't do that anymore. Now they say, let's have free market societies, and then we'll just steal all the money. But that.
Can you please cite me where that is said? Who has ever said that?
Does the same thing. It just takes a little bit longer.
Okay, thanks for the sources, buddy. I really appreciate you.
AOC has gotten herself in.
Do I need to mention anything else on that? No, probably not. Fuck it. Jesus, I want to kill myself. like no fucking source, nothing. Just say some shit. Hopefully everybody believes you.